You read that correctly. Monsters do exist, and yes, we do actually live in your closet. You have almost certainly spent much of your life mere feet from a closet monster. You're more likely to notice us at night, we're more likely to be near you when you're children, and yes, you would be absolutely terrified if you saw us. And it's all so unfair. Consider the situation. If terrifying, powerful monsters are just a step away, couldn't we just attack at any time? What does that tell you when you consider the fact that it never happens? We get a pretty bad rap. I understand why you'd be afraid. I'm 9 feet tall myself and covered head to toe in fuzzy black fur. My massive underbite means that 2 long pointy teeth are on permanent display. I have 2 tiny goat horns on the top of my head. And I've got 3 eyes. They're all a little bit googly, but that's just who I am, and I've learned to live with it. And I've come to accept that the world never will. Like all creatures, monsters' habits are simply a form of survival. And there's one extremely important survival fact about monsters. We can't go into the light. I don't mean that we're simply afraid of it. Light is deadly to us. A minimal exposure to direct sunlight can be fatal in seconds. Do you know the dust that you see floating across the sunbeams when you wake up? You're told that it's skin cells. But why do you only see it in the morning? And why only in direct sunlight? And why not every single day of your life in every single room where you sleep? Morning dust is what monsters become when they cannot escape the sunlight. It's another survival mechanism that feels almost unbearable at times, but is totally necessary. Nothing is left of us when we die. We exist almost entirely in solitude. So a sunburst means that we become dust and no one remembers that we ever lived. Nothing in survivalism is one-sided. Every bad has a good. Our sensitivity to light became suddenly advantageous in the past few years, and it has made my life so much more bearable. You've been using light waves to communicate so much that most of your conversations are no longer in person. Think about it. For most people, it's true. The hypersensitivity that monsters feel to the light in the air has made us aware of the lines that cross our world, and we've been able to hear what you say when you're not actually talking. We've learned to talk back. I can use my sensitivity to light to send a text or read an internet message with my mind. It's how I'm recording this now in real time without even leaving the closet. It's made me less lonely. The ability to connect with all of you means more than I could possibly say. But it's yet one more way that makes monsters strange. Our ability to communicate online while hidden connects us to the rest of you, but it isolates us as well. See? We're not so different. You're thinking that you surely would have seen one of us if we spent your entire childhood by your bed. You'd be right. Once again, it all comes back to survival. Of course we'll be spotted from time to time. Surviving means living in the hard times, not living around them. And we're very good at that. We usually inhibit children's rooms for obvious reasons. They're less likely to be taken seriously if we're spotted. And they're unlikely to use violence to confront the unknown, which is a tendency that humans lose when they grow up. When a child spots us, we can react to it. As I lay a big furry paw on a child's head, he or she will instantly fall asleep. I put them to bed, and they'll have no memory of anything unusual in the morning. After enough incidents, echoes of memories do begin to persist. Children tell monster stories all the time, but they never can get the details quite right, and the inconsistent repetition of such incredible tales actually helps to discredit stories about monsters. I've lived this way more years than I can count. We have to survive this way. I think you know what adults would do if they ever discovered us. And it really isn't right, because when I put children to sleep, all I want to do is to help them have a good morning, to have a good day. My current human's name is Julie. She's 6-year-old, very kind and very smart. Any parent would be proud of her. But her father does not treat her like she deserves. I've been with Julie for nearly her entire life. 1,913 days to be exact. For half of that time, since she was 3, her father has been coming to her at night. Sometimes it's once a week. Other times months can go by with no visit, but eventually he always returns. I broke it up the first time that I realized what was about to happen. It was dark enough so that neither of them truly understood what I was. I hauled her father into his bedroom and shut the door behind him. He must have fallen asleep immediately, because I heard him snoring. I snuck back into Julie's room and erased her memory of the incident. The whiskey on her father's breath let me know that his memory was clean as well. It continued like this for years. There are times when I let myself think that he had stopped for good, that 3 months without an attempt meant that Julie's father had reformed himself and decided to love his daughter only in ways that are appropriate. It never lasts. But I have. Even with my memory eraser, I have always been diligent never to let either one of them see me. I have survived the centuries through an overabundance of caution. It keeps me safe to dwell only in the land of shadows and dreams. There's another reason, though, and whether it's vanity or hope is left to your discretion. Julie has taken my heart in the way that it should have stolen her father's. Protecting her has become my most important thing in my life. Part of me, one that's hidden deeper and farther than even my own race needs to hide, imagines that one day she will see me and smile. I know I would terrify her if she ever saw me. Yes, I could wipe her memory, but I can't wipe my own. And there's no species on Earth that has developed a survival mechanism for memories. This morning is bad. Several things were clearly different right away. It's nearly dawn. Julie's father never stays out drinking this late. And it's clear that the longer time meant extra binging. He's normally quiet until he reaches her room, but this time he's shaking the whole house with his yelling and clamoring, and it started when he was only at the front door. I hoped that he wouldn't go to Julie's room. A reason that his drunken state would cause him to pass out immediately. I was wrong. He bursts into the bedroom and slams the door against the opposite wall. He absolutely reeks of whiskey this time and is gasping in great, heaving breaths. He's holding a nearly empty bottle in his hand. And this time, Julie is awake from the very beginning. She's staring at him with terrified eyes. In her memory, thanks to me, she's never seen him like this. "Daddy? What's wrong?" is all she can say. Then he's on her. I'm about to pounce, but then I see it. A ray of morning light. It's faint, but as I look around the room, I see that it's not solitary. Julie's father went out drinking until morning. My heart begins to race blood through my 9-foot frame. Is the light weak enough for me to endure? Julie gives a scream that should, by all rights, chill him into submission. It does not. Now that he can finally act without resistance, I see his intentions unfold before me. I have to shield my 3 eyes when he violently tears her underwear away. The light will only get stronger, not weaker, so the time to act is now. I leap from the closet and land next to the bed. 4 terrified eyes peel away from each other and look toward me. My fur is beginning to burn. I grab Julie's father around the waist and pull. He fights back. He yells. Julie screams. I raise him up and stagger backward. He's writhing and punching as I back towards the door. My skin feels like it's on fire. I move faster. I'm able to get him out of the room, and I pull Julie's door shut. There's a wide swath of early morning sun streaming in through the hallway window. It lands on my legs, and I feel like I'm being cut in half. I stagger. That's when he smashes the bottle on top of my head. I explode in pain from top to bottom and hit the floor, Julie's father finally earning his release from my arms. I roll out of the patch of sunlight, stopping face to face with the man I dropped. He's dead. His neck lies broken against the side of the chair. Get up. It's the survival mechanism speaking. Get up and into the closet now, or there's no hope left. I get to my wobbly feet and sprint back into Julie's room. She's standing just beyond the door, looking at me as I enter. For the first time, she finally sees me, unhidden, bathed in the morning light. I will finally know what she thinks, whether I like it or not. She screams. It's not just any scream. It is a cry more guttural and terrible than any I imagined such a sweet young girl capable of generating. The most painful part is that the scream is worse than the one she gave when her father attacked. The part of me that had hoped she would see me and smile wasn't rooted in the actual belief that it would happen. It was simply based on the knowledge that I couldn't prove that she wouldn't. Hope isn't belief. Hope is a survival mechanism against our own mind. And right now, as Julie looks at me with fear and hatred, I can feel that survival mechanism failing for the last time. It's almost certainly too late anyway. Julie is too terrified to see it, but the morning light is filled with dust. I can't have her only memory of me be like this. Not in my life. I pick her up in my great arms. She's so much more delicate than her father. Her resistance feels heartfelt, but she is too young to have learned to hate, so she's not really fighting from the heart. I wrap my arms around her in a giant bear hug and lie down with her in bed. The soft mattress is a great relief because I can feel my legs failing. I wrap my arms around her in a giant bear hug. I rest my hand on her head and she quickly falls asleep. I can feel myself drifting away too, as the enormous cloud of morning dust dances lazily above our heads in the bright early sun. I begin to rock her back and forth. I can barely move my body. It feels like it's just floating away. Thanks for listening, everyone. Now it's time for me to go. So I strain forward and quietly whisper into her ear. My head is the only part of me that can still move, and even that is almost gone. I'm sorry I scared you, Julie. You scared me, too. Have a good morning. Have a good day.